Hi, this is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington with Brightside Global Trade TV, and we are on YouTube. We're also launching our podcast, which should be out this week. And so we hope that you can enjoy this video as a video, and then you can also enjoy listening to it as a podcast. I'm here and I'm delighted to introduce you or reintroduce you to Dr. LaNysha Adams, who stole the show at our Women Business Empowerment. We were just everybody can't stop talking about it. And if you missed the presentation, I'll make sure that the links are available so you can watch the webinar yourself. So Dr. LaNysha, tell us about this fabulous book that everybody's buzzing about, and I see that you won an award as well. So congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. Yes, I won 2 awards, one Best Independent Book award for motivational book and a second place award for another one. And the journey to having this book about me power really comes from this place of frustration where I was really curious about why this word empower is overused, is used so much. And it was bothering me, like the meaning of the word isn't getting at what the heart of it is about. So how then did we come to this point? So I was trained as a linguist, so I looked at the history of the word, kind of mapped it and understood like its origin point. And really what I was thinking about the word itself was problematic. And so I flipped the prefix and made it into me, which is getting at the heart of what's inside of us, and power, which I'm challenging this notion that it's power over or some way or something that other people have and other people don't. I think that there's a higher power that has all the power, if we want to say it that way, but really we're getting at this notion of energy. So I really wanted people to understand the history of the word and then also understand it as a new kind of idea that is an old idea, that's a universal idea, that the power that we're looking on the outside comes from inside. And so I have the book itself is in 2 parts. Part 1 is just, like I said, the history of the word, all of these things about the ideas of power and the misconceptions of them. And then the second part of the book, it covers 5 principles of me power, which is an interrelationship that kind of exemplifies the notion that it's an energy, it's an exchange, it's a process that we all engage in.
Wow. So Elton had this thought about waking up in the morning with me power. So Elton,
I mean, it's the first thing. If you get up and you've got this engaging day, and you have to really start to think about, me power. I mean, because it's you against the world. And how do I conquer the world? It's just me. It's just me. And so, I've just asked the question and what you have to do. Or better still, what do you eat for breakfast?
Yeah. So I start off with this notion, like, how do I activate more me power? Like, this is a question I ask myself, similar to what you're talking about. And really, we have to define it, right? So what is it then? Knowledge of self, who we are, right? Who we are, who we want to be, who are we aspiring to be? And what actions are we taking to be our future self, our best version of ourselves, right? So I start off all the thinking about that, right? Because if we want to change kind of how we are, who we are, then we need to engage in some principled action around what that means. What does that look like for us? And we have to first define the kind of end result if we're aiming for that. So I really, I know it's a very high level, but I start there. And then in terms of the actual steps of how we engage in these 5 practices, right? So they're principled practices that people really can come to life, embracing your barriers, focusing on your strengths. It all comes back to knowing who you are. Those are the first 2 principles of me power. And it's like, how do you know what you're good at? How do you know what's unique about you that's different from other people? Only you know that. And I think it's kind of interesting, like when we think about change, we're looking kind of on the outside. Who else can help us? What can we get? what resources do we need? And we don't actually see ourselves as resources. So I'm
Mhm.
really encouraging people to think differently about who they are and what they're
That's
about.
very big. I mean, you're right. People don't see themselves as resources. I mean, and what that means is, of course, we are resources, and we're resources for a lot of people. And
Hmm.
but of course, primarily we're resources for ourselves. And you have to, in some cases, you got to dig deep about that, and yeah, and what that means. And every day is a day like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to engage the day so that I'm not overwhelmed by it. I can meet the day head on and then engage myself. I mean, it's it's kind of like a superpower. In some cases, I mean, you got to really start to begin to dig deep about who you are and how you will face the day according to what you have to meet it with. And so that's a big deal.
That's right.
And those kind of brands can help us or help you meet the world and sell more books, me power, like that. And so I mean that kind of thing. We're here, and what we can do is help you sell more books, engaging more people to talk about what you're able to do, what that means.
And also, we wanted to ask you the question about your speaking engagements. So, if somebody would like to book you to speak with the Me Power book, do they go to your website, send you a message? What's the process?
Yeah, so the process for that is to send me a message, hello@lanisha.com, or you can go directly on lanisha.com and click contact us, and it'll go to me and my team, and really just kind of outline what it is that you're looking for, what's the budget, and we really customize either workshops with a small group or even a larger talk. I'm doing a fireside chat with a company coming up, and it's kind of cool because they have all these questions about these nurses that are kind of burnt out or feeling more burnt
Yes.
out,
Oh, oh,
and how then they can tap into their me power to help them navigate this terrain that they're facing. I mean, during this time, it's really, all of the medical professionals are flooding the hospitals in the DC area where I live. And so there are a lot of questions about the hospitals get flooded with the travel nurses, the other nurses, and
oh.
then the regular nurses that are there all the time. And so how do they all kind of work together and not feel the pressure of this burnout factor, but also still feel excited? They're very purpose driven people. So, how then do they maximize that in their work environment? And so, I'm really excited about that. Fireside chat coming up, but I'm kind of turning it into a workshop to just make sure that when people hear a talk, they walk away with something that they can take action on right away, when they can see how the principles are playing out in their life.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
very true.
very good.
So that's true. So yeah, so we had a lot of requests after Women Business Empowerment to get you to speak and do workshops. So we'll talk about that offline. But if you'd like to get her book just for you to see, or if you'd like to book her to speak, we'll have that information available. Thank you so much. This is a short interview, but we'll bring her back. You're watching Brightside Global Trade, and we're getting ready with our new podcast. So stay tuned. And next week is Earth Day. So we'll be giving you tickets. So just take a picture, tell us that you love the book, and or whatever comments you have about the book, and we will give you 2 tickets to our event next Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you for watching.